He's not washed. Who the hell thinks this guy? He wasn't. How washed was he last year? 8 games in, when he was well on his way to over 100 catches and over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Is that the regional definition of washed? Because Steph Diggs
before his knee exploded.
On Steph Diggs on one leg with the barbell and all the plates that he was squatting, or the chains in that IG video, is better than any wide receiver currently signed to the New England Patriots, now not named Steph Diggs. Get out of here, people. You're carrying a bias that belongs to when you hated that he would come in and point his fingers in the end zone and tell everyone what they could do to a certain part of his anatomy, which was not very nice. He was a Patriot killer, and just because he's a locker room cancer. He's a bad culture guy. He grouses on the sidelines. You know what? He does a little bit of that, sure. He is a pain in the ass, but guess what? He's a good pain in the ass for a team that lacks talent and needs motivation, especially in the wide receiver room. Come on.
So the place I would start is there's a lot of weeds to get caught up in if you want to get caught up in the weeds with age and injury and history and all of these things. But the reality is, and I did an exercise, Fitzy, I went through the NFL because you now have a number 1 wide receiver. How good of a number 1 wide receiver? We can debate. But I went through and compared Steph Diggs because I think we could have argued before this move you had the 32nd ranked number 1 wide receiver in the NFL.
And
I think
that's being generous.
And now I think you, at the very least, are in the high 20s. I came up with about 20 to 22 guys that I think are definitively better than Diggs at this point. But you jumped up a third of the NFL. And in a year in which you're going to battle with a guy that you want to be more cocky and more aggressive and more cocksure of himself and his team, Drake May, you now gave him a weapon. You now gave him a guy. You now gave him I watched Tom Brady for years, Fitzy. When it was on the line and the defense was doing good things, whether it be in practice or in games, you know what he often did? Where's Edelman? Where's Edelman?
Yeah.
Where's Edelman? Now we now have an answer that Drake May can say, it is hitting the fan. Where's Diggs? I'm just going to throw to Diggs and hope, because I actually believe he will give me an opportunity to make a play as a quarterback and as an offense. So you have a number 1 wide receiver, something this team has been lacking for years, and it fills a massive need. In an ideal world, he's probably a 2, right? In an ideal world, he's probably a number 2.
He was a 1.5 last year, depending, kind of the 2, because he was a 2 with a really good 3 behind him in Tank Dell. Nico Collins was the 1, but Nico Collins had a bad hamstring pull last year. So Diggs elevated to the 1, amply played the part, no big deal for him, and then he tears his ACL, and there goes the Houston season.
Then it all bottomed out. Dan Ball?
He's a 2 on a championship caliber team, but on a team that's scrounging to make the playoffs, he's a decent 1.
Absolutely. And forget playoffs. Just forget playoffs. On a team that is trying to get a representative offense on the field for 2025. And we have...
Trying to score a point that's not a field goal or safety?
Yes, and trying to have guys that you can, I don't know, be a little bit excited about, put a little bit of faith in, put a little expectations on.
Somebody a defense actually has to game plan around instead of just dealing with.
And I don't know that Stefon Diggs is going to get back to his 100
silver medal that was just nipped at the finish line of his actual on-field contributions. And then third, what he's going to do for the confidence of Drake May, which also was a bit of a photo finish as well. The manifold benefits of Stefon Diggs joining the New England Patriots are so much so that actually after the initial sticker shock of 3 years, $69 million, nice, $26 million, that's contractually obligated, folks, sorry about that, and $26 million guaranteed, I didn't think that was too much money after all. Stop and look at it for a second. Like, whoa, that is way more than I thought he was going to get, because it felt like the Patriots were balking at 3 for $45 with Cooper Kupp in the Pacific Northwest. Turns out they weren't afraid to spend that kind of money, and Tom Curran's right. The Patriots don't like being called cheap, and they aren't cheap right now. They knew they needed to pay over and above and beyond whatever Steph Diggs, even on a bum or a rehabbing wheel, was worth, because they need someone to come in and challenge the wide receiver room to a metaphorical fight and say, all the catches are now running through me, you guys. So if you want Drake May to look your way, if you want Josh McDaniels to call you up as the primary target, then guess what? You're going to have to prove that you're better than me, whether I have 2 healthy legs, 1.5, or none. And then as far as what he does on the field, yeah, He's not the downfield threat he used to be, but he sure as hell is a pain in the ass to cover anywhere between 0 to 15 yards left, right, and center. And then for Drake May, yes, the volume monster that he can hopefully and will be with Drake May, that reliable target like Blanket. Steph's got to be out there someplace. If anybody legitimately believes that Drake May is soft enough, impressionable enough, or just, like too nice enough, if you will, that a guy like Stefon Diggs would come in and mess up his personality or influence him negatively, then you must think that Drake May was softer than dog crap to begin with. That's not who he is, and don't worry about Steph Diggs turning him into a bad guy or being a negative influence on him. Come on now.
You acknowledged it. The $26 million guaranteed, I think, was eye-opening for me because I thought once we started down the road of D-Hop got 1 year and $5 million in Baltimore, and Diggs being injured, Diggs coming to New England, Diggs not having a big market, I did not envision a contract this large. Now, we haven't seen the details yet, or at least I haven't, but there is definitely some backloaded to this. It doesn't have to be a 3-year deal.
Didn't we speculate 1 for 18 or 1 for 20, something like that, like a prove-it thing, and if he kicks ass, then he gets to go sign one more big deal in the NFL?
Well, sure. I mean, we need to wait and see because, I don't know, if reporters are doing their jobs properly, he's getting $26 million. That's what the word guaranteed means. If he doesn't actually get $26 million from the New England Patriots, then I need to send Adam Schefter and others a dictionary with a highlighted word guaranteed. But so he got a lot of money. You know what I don't care about? That. Because we were bitching that they had $90 million in cap space. How do you still have the most cap space in the league and you don't have a wide receiver? Go overpay for Cooper Kupp. Go overpay for DK Metcalf. Go overpay for somebody. They overpaid for somebody. I think they overpaid for him. And I'm okay with that because and whether you want to call it the suck tax, whether you want to call it desperation, painting yourself into a corner, this opens up a lot more opportunities in the draft. This opens up a lot more opportunities for the growth of the offense. And it also covers up. Do you remember how the show ended yesterday when we were reading texts about how great Mac Hollins was going to be? We had all these people, Mac Hollins is going to do this. Mac Hollins is going to do that. Can we stop talking about Mac Hollins now and just talk about Stefon Diggs, an actual NFL legitimate proven wide receiver?
Well, hold on. Mac Hollins is an NFL wide receiver. He has dozens of catches. He has over 50 catches in a season. That makes him NFL wide receiver to me. Now, the best part is everybody who thought, not only do I have to try to live up to my own expectations, but now I'm going to have to try to surpass him. Because we don't have a number 1 target. We don't have a number 2 target. Nobody fears the New England Patriots passing attack. Well, now that Steph Diggs is here, everybody can just kind of go back to their lane, their role. Now Jalen Polk can just worry about holding on to the ball and being in the right place at the right time. Now
Those elite hands, the best in the NFL.
Javon Baker can worry about getting onto the field. Now Mac Hollins can not have to worry about putting on shoes and wearing fun outfits. Like everybody can be who they were supposed to be on the offense because Diggs, even though he's not the biggest guy in the world, no one's going to confuse him with Calvin Johnson or Megatron or even Randy Moss, though we do always welcome distressed Minnesota wide receiver talents back here in New England, and they oftentimes work out pretty well. He's a strong enough man. He's a big enough personality. He's arrogant and confident and cocky. Yeah, these are all the things you want out of your number 1 wide receiver. He's not afraid to be the man. And look, Andy, if it works out and the New England Patriots win 8, 9, God forbid, 10 games this season, so long as they shore up that whole tackle thing on the left side, then guess what? Gone will be the stigma that New England is in the toilet. Gone will be people's fear of coming to Foxborough to watch their careers die. And vanquished will be the notion that nobody wants to play in Foxborough under Vrabel or with Drake again.